All right, welcome to the newest episode of Secrets of Field Bodybuilding Podcast with Sean Hypes and Ryan Palmberg. So last week, Sean, we talked, and we thought it'd be a good idea to kind of critique ourselves, almost as if we were taking ourselves on as a new client. So you've kind of been off diet a little bit the last few months. You've had a few things going on at home. I know you built like a huge addition for a new bedroom at the house.
Yeah,
So you're kind of at a good starting point because you were off diet. You were still training and eating right, but you weren't on a strict diet the whole time. And so
correct.
you've lost some weight. So you want to get some background of where you were and what you were doing and what you're going
Yeah.
to do.
Basically, this happened at the end of August, beginning of September. I started a big addition on my house. I work a full-time job where I work 10 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. And it consisted of me getting off my regular job, coming home, going to the gym, and basically rushing through my workout to try and come home and work on my addition. And it's basically been like that every day since. Working on the weekends, which wasn't too bad. But my problem is on the weekend, I would get so wrapped up in the work. I'd eat my breakfast and I wouldn't eat again until 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I was just missing a lot of calories throughout the week, just consistently. All kinds of meals, even breakfast was messed up because I'd want to get that little bit of extra sleep, and I
Yeah.
would just say screw it and just literally driving to work, taking a dry packet of oatmeal, put it in my mouth, and then washing it down with a protein shake.
So
Just
were
to
you were you trying to were you just like straight up like missing meals, or were you trying to
yeah,
like recover later in the day and eating like massive meals?
not kind of both. Like I'd have moments where I would just miss everything completely.
Yeah.
I'd miss two meals, sometimes 3 meals in a day. And when I would realize like, man, I'm like starving, I really missed too many calories today, I would just throw in like 8 corn dogs in the microwave. Just go out to eat, just pound back something with immense calories just to get something in, which is, trust me, it's not the greatest idea, but I was able to at least keep an eye on me.
Yeah.
Um, and
You've got a
because of
faster
this,
metabolism than most.
yes, yeah, I do have a very fast metabolism. Because of that, I've lost upwards of just under 25 pounds. Um,
Okay.
you know, the workouts, they were consistent, but they weren't consistently good. I'd go in for a workout and I'd do back, which was normally always a good workout for me. But then, like for arms, I typically would just rush through it so I could get home real quick or whatever it would happen to be. But what really got me was I was overtraining because I didn't know if I would have time to go to the gym the next day.
Yeah.
So, say on Tuesday or on Wednesday, I would normally take off. I'm like, well, let me go today because I might work too much tomorrow and I can't make it to the gym. So I'd work out Wednesday. Thursday, I'd finish up a little bit early. I'm like, all right, well, let me just go to the gym since I normally go to the gym today. Next thing you know, I'm going 6, sometimes 7 days a week, and then I'd take 3, 4 days off in a row.
Yeah.
It was just all over the place, and that's basically part of the sacrifice you got to make sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. With just regular life stuff. Um, so you're just kind of really all over the place. There's no real structure to anything. You're just kind of
No.
some days you'd have good lifts, some days you'd have bad lifts. I'm guessing the days you had bad lifts were came after a day of poor eating and whatnot. But
Mostly, yeah. Like I would be consistent with Monday through Thursday. I would have my meal 2, 3, and 4 were always consistently great, good because I'm at work.
yeah.
Um, Majority of the time, my meal 5 is the one I would end up skipping. Meal 6 would end up being 5, 6 hours after meal 4.
Yeah.
So somewhere happened with that. Yeah, and then then you're talking digestion too, because I'm trying to scarf it down as fast as possible so I can get a shower, go to bed.
Yeah.
And then meal 1 was so hit and miss because I try to get that little bit extra sleep. So it was all over the place.
Yeah. Okay. So since August, so about what, September, October, November, December, January, February, so about 6, 7 months now of kind of just not non-compliance, but just just life getting in the way of stuff. So
Yeah.
6 months off track a little bit, about 25 pounds down. And so what's your current weight now?
210.
210. So you're at 235 now, down to 210.
Yep.
Um, and so now, so you took some pictures. We're going to pull up here in a second. You took some pictures for like an initial starting point, and then you created a diet this week for yourself as well, right?
Yes. The diet that I put together it's an initial diet. It's not the finished product one bit. It's something just to get me back on track, eating consistently. I don't have an issue with eating clean, but it's just eating consistently.
Yeah.
And once I get that consistency down, then I'll be able to start adding more calories, things in that nature.
Okay.
So this is a diet that more than likely within the next 3 or 4 weeks will be changed according to my hunger, stuff like that.
Yep. Okay. So you want to pull your pictures up now and then
Yeah,
go over the diet, or do you want to do like do you want to just go over the diet now, and we can do pictures after and talk about how to approach like training?
well, yeah, basically, well, let's go over the diet first because that'll be probably kind of short. I got put on the right side of the screen. If I put on the left, I see the shadow we were talking about.
Yep.
Basically, what I'm going to end up doing, I wake up at 4:30 every morning for work. So basically, what I'm going to end up doing is just making a big ass hash. Just throw it in a skillet, mix everything together, and go.
Mhm.
So it'll basically consist of 6 egg whites, 3 whole eggs, 6 ounces of potato, and 1 cup of vegetables.
Okay.
That's basically my meal one, just something real quick for me to get down and go.
Yep. This
Um,
is you said like these like hash brown potatoes, or what are they?
no, red potatoes. Like I'll basically just
Oh,
cook a
just
shit
chop
ton
them
of
up.
potatoes, slice them up, and I'll just throw them in the pan while the eggs are cooking with it.
You know what, dude? I've never done potatoes for breakfast.
I love it.
That
It's
doesn't
it.
sound, so you just throw it all all together in the pan?
Yep. Yeah, but no, they're already cooked though. The red potatoes are already
Yeah.
cooked. They
Yeah.
just in the microwave. I take out what I need and just throw them in the pan, and then throw the eggs on top of it and the vegetables, and just make it
Yeah.
a big ass scramble with it.
What do you use for seasoning?
Salt and pepper.
Okay. All
That's
right. So
about it.
six. Yeah, I got to pull up here my phone to you. Just sent it to me before we got on here. But so six egg whites, 3 whole eggs, 6 ounces of potato, and a couple veggies. Okay, that's meal
Yep.
one.
Meal two is pretty consistent. This is what it actually is right now. It'll be 50 gram protein with water, 1 packet of oats, and 3 tablespoons of peanut butter.
Oh, wow.
Um, Reason for that peanut butter is basically too is my fats are a little bit lower than I would like for meal one.
Okay.
Uh, and I think we touched on this last week, or maybe it was just a phone conversation we had. Um, with me, I respond much better with high fat, low carbs to put on weight.
Yeah.
Now, when I say low carbs, I don't mean no 50, 60 grams. I'm talking upwards and around 200 is my sweet spot. And
Okay.
I'm fine. So I have that advantage to add fats in the diet for higher calories,
Yeah.
things like that.
So just guessing, right? You said you have a tendency to put on weight better with higher fats, low carbs. I'm guessing that's because your metabolism is so fast that you
Yeah,
need gas to slow it down to actually absorb the nutrients properly, right?
exactly. And what I'll end up doing when I do notice my metabolism slowing down a little bit more, instead of switching up the food like most people would think, I just increase cardio. Well, I won't say increase cardio. I'll actually start doing cardio.
Yeah.
Any clients know they ask me how much cardio I do. I just laugh at them.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Okay. So three tablespoons of fat or peanut butter, shake, and oats. What do you do?
Yep.
You just do you throw the oats in the shake?
Yeah, just throw the oats in the protein shake because typically that's in the middle of work for me.
Yep.
Just going at work, everything. So I mean, it's something quick, simple to go.
Yep. All right.
Um,
So three.
yeah, meal three will be 7 ounces of chicken, 1 cup of rice, and 1 tablespoon of macadamia nut oil.
Nice.
Pretty simple. I might throw vegetables in there. Depends
Yep.
on how my hunger is after the first day or two. And
Um,
that is with it.
so you like mac oil?
Yeah, oh, I love macadamia nut oil.
Where do you
Yeah,
source it down there? Do you? Because I know Dave sells on his site on Species.
Amazon.
Um,
That that whole
Amazon?
that whole spiel. I remember him having a video on it about don't get it from Hawaii because of the volcanic ash and all that.
I didn't see that one.
I don't know where he got that from because volcanic ash, he says that it doesn't have nutrients in it.
Hmm.
Volcanic ash is like pure nutrients. And I know this from gardening because I'm a big gardener actually.
Okay.
If you don't have the nutrients in the soil, the plant doesn't grow. It won't bear fruit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it doesn't have nutrients, then it's not going to give off the macadamia nuts for the oil.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he got that from. I don't know if it was a selling point for you to buy his or what.
Yeah. I've heard that my dad says that my dad's like huge on his lawn. My dad, this guy is will talk about his lawn for hours, dude. But he takes the ashes from his fire pit and sprinkles it on the lawn.
Yep, yeah, ashes are loaded with nutrients, man. They
Mhm.
really are. Of course, now with that, it would depend on like what you burn and everything.
Yeah.
But it also goes down to if the fruit or the vegetable or the tree, bush, whatever it is, if the nutrients aren't in the soil, it's not going to grow. It
Yeah.
won't bear fruit, the flower, whatever it is. So I don't know where that came from, but I literally just get it off Amazon.
So do you
Um,
have any particular reason why you choose mac oil over like avocado or olive oil? Just the taste?
it's just superior.
Yeah.
I mean, the nutrient content, 1 tablespoon is 14 grams of fat.
Yeah.
It's just loaded with omegas beyond anything.
Yeah.
Um, I've never been a fan of avocado oil, coconut oil.
Mhm.
The only other oil I would say is olive oil, if you can even get real olive
Real
oil.
olive oil. Yeah.
I mean, you'll
Yeah.
probably pay 50, $60 for one bottle. You'll have
Yeah.
to get it imported.
I love mac oil. I do as much as possible. It's just a pain to order it sometimes. So it's like, if I don't do mac oil, I'm doing avocado oil.
Yeah.
Olive oil, I just don't like the taste of it, and I don't think I can get real stuff most of the time in the grocery store. So avocado oil is the next easiest thing to get for me.
And that's something that for people to really look at too is like we said, that's 1 tablespoon of an oil that's 14 grams of fat.
Yeah,
That is it's, I mean, you're talking such a
dense.
small density in your
Yeah.
stomach that it's perfect for anyone that's trying to put on a lot of weight. It's perfect.
It is good. I love oils for that, especially in the off season. Like if you're prepping or dieting, I'll go like almonds typically because it just gives something else to munch on. But the oils in the off season, when you're eating food, the oil like for one, it's small, so you don't even know you're eating it. It's not taking up space in your stomach. And then two, it like lubricates the food too, so it almost just makes the food like go down easier, especially when you're trying to force down 10 ounces of chicken. It gets pretty tough.
Yeah.
But it's also a little tasty.
Oh, it tastes great. I
Yeah.
actually, this is a bad problem I had is I used to just put the bottle on my lunch bags and box and bring it with me. I had to
Mhm.
stop doing that because I would just drink it from the container, like, ooh, that's good. And I would just do another shot. Like, ooh,
I had never done that. Definitely
yeah.
not done that.
It tastes so good to me.
Yeah, the mac oil is sweet.
Yeah.
I also like the mac oil in like a protein shake.
Yeah. Oh,
In
it's real.
in the off season, like typically when I get, when I'm at my heaviest, I'm doing 7 meals, and that seventh meal is usually a shake and the fat, and I just pour the fat right in there and chug it down.
Yeah. That's one thing. Some people are freaked out. Like a lot of my clients, I have on any type of oil, whatever it is. Like, ooh, oil. Like, do I cook with it? I'm like, no, you drink it. They're like, really? Like they freak out about that. They do it. They're like, oh, that's actually pretty good. Like, yeah,
I
drink.
know. Sometimes it's hard to separate it in your head as a coach, because like when you said it to me, you have the mac oil. I know you're just dumping over your food.
Yeah.
I get that my clients sometimes like same thing, like say I'm reading right off here, 7 ounces of chicken, cup of rice, tablespoon of mac oil. I'm like, okay, yeah, you just pour it over the food. I've had some clients say like, you want me just to drink this? And I'm like, no, dude, just pour it over your food.
It depends for me. It kind of just depends what's going on. Sometimes I'll pour it over my food. Sometimes I'll literally just drink it because I
Really?
do. It just tastes good to me.
Yeah.
But like you said, though, it does, especially because like as bodybuilders, yeah, we talk all the time about make your food, more attractive, tasty, all that. Sometimes we just say screw it, just cook it plain, do whatever.
Hmm.
Putting that on the rice and the chicken, it adds another taste to it. It really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Okay. So meal four.
Meal four will be 7 ounces of, well,
Mhm.
yeah, 7 ounces of beef, salmon. More than likely, I'm gonna start with beef, and then if my stomach starts aggravating, I'll switch up to like salmon or swordfish,
Yeah.
or chicken thigh. I'm not a big fan of chicken thigh though, just the taste. Ugh. Um, and just 1 cup of vegetables. That's it.
Okay.
That'll be basically my pre-workout meal. I'm not a huge fan of having a shit ton of food in my stomach, but I don't want to have my stomach empty before I work out.
So no carbs with your pre-workout meal.
Nope.
How far before your workout is this?
About an hour and a half.
Okay. Wow. Why no carbs?
I just never felt the need for them. I mean, if I do, I'll do like some pineapple or a piece of fruit, something like that.
Yeah.
Which, like with the next meal, I have an orange in there. Sometimes if I'm still hungry, I'll just eat that orange on the way to the gym instead of after the gym.
Okay.
But I prefer it after the gym. But I've never once seen a difference of having carbs before or not before a workout. Of course, you will with fast acting carbs, but I've just never had that issue with anything like that.
Okay.
Um,
Like lightheadedness, low blood sugar at all? Really?
I mean, especially someone like me, like I think we talked about this. Like I'm real sensitive with like certain things, like caffeine.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sensitive with caffeine, so my pre-workout, I'm wired.
Yeah.
I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
um,
Do you notice after your workout, you need to eat that post-workout meal faster than most people?
yes,
Like, so like I take in my pre-workout meal. What do? I do 65 grams of carbs and cream of rice in a protein shake with a tablespoon of peanut butter. Um, so I eat that like an hour and a half in advance. And then I take in 50 grams intracarbs while I'm training. So like I don't need to rush home and have my post-workout meal instantly. I can wait like 30, 40, 45 minutes if I want to. It's not
yeah.
an immediate need.
And now thinking back to this will kind of give more insight on why I do kind of a smaller meal pre-workout. This was something I discovered on myself is
Mhm.
if I eat like a normal size meal with a lot of carbs, stuff like that, and heavy fats, after my workout, I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat.
Yeah.
By doing this indirectly, I figured out a while ago that after my workout, I need to go eat. I have to have my food.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of something just to help and just to appease that appetite to come back is just to
Yeah.
keep the workout meal kind of low.
Yeah. Okay. So post workout meal 5.
It'll be a 50-gram shake and an orange.
Okay.
Um, Orange is actually, this is something I learned a long time ago that oranges help regulate insulin levels. It helps balance them out
Hmm.
to a small extent, which to a small extent on a bodybuilder is a lot.
Yeah.
Now we're not talking, correlating to injecting insulin or going hypo, anything like that, but it does help with a little bit. And in all honesty, you try it after a workout, you do feel a little spike of something.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, so that was something I learned. Oh, I learned that a long time. My original bodybuilding coach, Denise Gerard, taught me that actually.
Yeah. So the orange, we got like 25 grams carbs, just
Yeah.
about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a large orange, but not grapefruit or anything like that. I'm not trying to pull no Kai Green on the way home.
Grapefruit starting to look pretty attractive.
Um,
So I got to ask you just out of curiosity. So no carbs pre-workout, and then only 25 grams post-workout.
correct.
Um, that's just for most bodybuilders, that's untypical to have, or it's not typical to have such low carbohydrates in that period nutrition workout window.
Yeah, it's not typical, but at the same time, it's just something that I've noticed with myself. Of I'm better with lower carbohydrates
Yeah.
on the lower scale of carbohydrates. When I have a lot of carbohydrates, I actually tend to get lethargic, bloated constantly, things like that. And in all honesty, I feel better around the 175 to 220 range. I just feel fine.
Okay.
I've never had issues. I have no issue going higher, but I'd start to get a little bloated then. And we've talked about that in the past about bloating. That means there is an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to kind of touch on, I saw Jansen posted on his story this week. I don't know if remember if he was in response to a question or if he just posted it randomly, but he said something to the effect of, "You don't need to, bodybuilding. The one of the biggest things with post workout is you need to replace your glycogen, or you need to replenish your glycogen immediately after you work out." And sometimes when people say things and it's repeated so often, sometimes you don't even you don't think about why. And then he said, basically said, like, contrary to popular belief, he's like, you don't need to immediately replenish your glycogen stores as a bodybuilder. And I thought about it for a second, it's like, do we eat a shit ton of carbs all day long? Like I'm eating 65 grams per meal 6 times a day right now, and I have an initial workout of 50 grams. Like, so what's the point? Why do you need to replenish them immediately after you work out all what you just expelled? You're gonna top them off throughout the day if you're eating carbs continuously through the day.
Yeah.
We
What
only
would
work out. Our entire meal plan is based around an hour and a half of training a day.
it's but what makes no sense is why do I have to do it immediately? And
Yeah.
like doing something right after, I plan on going home and chilling the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think about is your body is more accepting of them at that time. I think we talked earlier this week when I was talking about the intra workout. When you work out, your muscle cells release what's called like GLUT4 receptors, and basically it allows the transport of glycogen into the muscle without the use of insulin. So your body is definitely more receptive for the glycogen storing, but it isn't. You don't need to do it immediately because I just trained. I'm now going to relax. So what do I need the re-storage immediately for?
And the big thing that a lot of people won't look at either is we know there's only two of the three things that we eat are essentials: your proteins and your fats.
Yep.
Your carbohydrates, they're not essential.
Nope.
One thing that a lot of people don't realize too is when you're on a low calorie diet or if you're in a ketosis diet, is a thing called glucosagenesis.
Yep.
And as bodybuilders, we're just protein, 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 protein. That's the old school thought. Just pound back as much protein as you can, end up constipating yourself, doing whatever. Once your body reaches a certain point with that storage, it's going to start converting a lot of that into glycogen.
Yeah.
So that's something you got to look at too, is with these protein shakes that we do, our body's not using 50 grams, 75 grams of our protein. So what's it going to do? Certain percentage of that's waste, certain percentage it will be turned into glycogen.
Yep. So it's going to be used for energy production too.
Yeah, exactly. So these are all things that go into details with the workouts,
Yeah.
or excuse me, with your around your workout that people don't see into that.
Yeah.
Now, as I go on, I will more than likely add carbohydrates to my post workout meal.
Right.
outside of an orange. Like I'll probably have the orange plus probably a good 20, 30 calories of or grams of carbohydrates out of more likely potato. But that's just, like I said, this is just an initial diet for me to work on and just slowly progress into.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So we can move on. So it's meal 6. So
Meal six,
post workout was 50 grams from a shake and then an orange.
yeah. Meal 6 will end up being 7 ounces of some lean protein, chicken, turkey, fish, somewhere in that range.
Yep.
3/4 cup of rice or like a 6-ounce potato, depending on how my stomach feels that day. Something I told Ryan before is I actually bloat pretty bad on rice. So
Mm.
I'll eat it as much as I can because I like rice, but once I notice that bloating, I'll back off and use potato.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are the exact opposite. Potato kind of messes with them.
Yeah. That's what it does for me.
Yeah, but potato I'm great on. And on that one, actually, I will use 1 tablespoon of MCT oil instead of macadamia nut oil.
Why?
Just different types of fats. Get those medium chains in. Use different varieties.
Mm.
So that's something throughout this diet. If you look, I'm getting all kinds of different types of fat sources in, from whole eggs, the fatty meat, MCT, macadamia nut oil,
Yep.
peanut butter. Try to get that higher range of all the fat sources.
Yep. Absolutely. What about what do you take for supplements? Just like general, like do you take a multivitamin, omega fish oils at all?
Basically, yeah, the omega 369 supplements, one you just said, multivitamin,
Yeah.
1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 5,000 I use vitamin D3, CoQ10 just for the skin. It's real good for just variety of things. And there's one supplement I've been taking, I recommend to most of my clients, is something called NAC. Um, there's a lot of studies on it. Nothing's been bulletproof on it, but that's the only one that I've ever recommend anybody that's not 100% bulletproof. But
Mhm.
when you read a lot of these studies, it shows a lot of benefits for everything from your liver, your kidney, your skin, your hair, appetite, everything.
Yeah.
So that's something that I do take regularly.
NAC.
Yeah, NAC. Yeah,
I gotta look
that,
it up and text it to you just so I can remind myself later.
yeah. I can't pronounce the real name of it, and trust me, you'll know if you need some smelling salts. Just bring that bottle with you and take a little sniff.
My smell is like slowly coming back in like bits and pieces. Like I still can't smell the hand sanitizer bottle in the car at all, but I can smell like a candle we have in the house. I feel like I put my nose up close to it, and I can smell the cat litter. Those are the like 2 things I can start to smell.
How's your taste?
It's fine. I never lost it.
Okay.
I think it was weakened a little bit just from like not having the smell because
Uh,
they tie in so much together. But no, I can taste fine.
that's good.
Cool. All right, so I'm just gonna run through it one more time just so everyone. I know we talked a lot in between, but so meal 1, 6 egg whites, 3 whole eggs, 6-ounce potato, and a cup of veggies. Meal 2 is 50-gram. Oh no, sorry. Meal 2 is 50-gram shake, packet of oats, and 3 tablespoons of peanut butter. 3 is 7 ounces of chicken, a cup of rice, and tablespoon of mac oil again. Meal 4, 7 ounces of beef and veggies, no carbs. 5 is another shake and an orange, and then 6 is 7 ounces of protein, turkey, chicken, beef, whatever you want, 6 ounces of potato, veggies, and an MCT oil, so probably coconut oil.
No, just a straight up MCT.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually can't. I don't like the taste of coconut oil.
Yeah,
I love coconuts, but I don't like the taste of coconut oil itself.
I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it at all ever.
And with this too, basically, I'll probably do 2 cheat meals a week. One just kind of a small BS one, just probably I'll honestly just add more food to something.
Yep.
And then another one, of course, on a Friday or Saturday night, just eat whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
And this will be just like I said, a basis. And being that I can look at things that I'm going to be bouncing a lot of stuff off you, I can adjust on the fly pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do that once in a while. I can't afford to do it as much as you. My metabolism isn't as fast as yours. But if like we do like a midweek cheat meal, it'll be like a Chipotle type thing where it's the same foods, just tastes a little better.
Yeah, they're like something like it's perfect. Like I'll just make like my final meal. I'll just make chicken tacos, like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
taco bowl or some shit. Just add in a shit ton of extra little things.
Yep.
Or like I told people before, like midweek, if they had the fast metabolisms, add a dessert. Slice of cheesecake, couple cookies, whatever you want, something like that.
I can kill some cookies. Got to keep the cookies out of the house.
I just actually just got my my dealer. gave me my cookies.
My cookie dealer.
No, my hookup at work. His daughter's in the Girl Scouts.
What do you? What's your poison? The Samoas or the?
Samoas and the lemons.
What?
Samoas and lemon.
Okay.
Those
Okay.
lemon cookies, man, they're hard to find. Actually, they say they're trying to discontinue them for some reason. I love them.
Dude, I've never been a Girl Scout cookie fan.
Oh man,
I don't know why. Never liked them. Never cared for them.
and I don't like sweets, but Girl Scout cookies, oh, I'll mess them up.
If you give me the box of the red box, the chewy Chips Ahoy,
Uh,
I'll mess those up.
it might be like the. You ever heard of the McRib effect?
No.
How like they only McDonald's brings the McRib back
Oh,
once
it's
a year.
just seasonal.
Yeah, it's just like one time a year, so everybody wants it because they
Yeah.
can't get when they the other times. Yeah, I think that's the same thing with me and the cookies. It's like I can't get them any time of the year, but when I see them, I'm like, ooh, give me.
Yeah. Jesus. All right, let's go over these pictures real quick then. So, okay, so we went over oh shit. Sorry. Oh, forgot I got the different keyboard. Okay. So we went over the diet. Can you see the pictures up right now?
Yes.
Okay. So the diet. So these are your initial photos from yesterday, Saturday.
Yep.
Okay. So we can go through them quickly. So front relaxed. Keep hitting the wrong keyboard here. Back relaxed. Side chest. It's a good shot. Real lat spread. There's Bella in the background.
Yeah, being a creep.
And front double. I think this is the last one, right?
Yeah, this was the one because you had mentioned so everyone knows where my leg looks different sizes. They're actually pretty equal. It's just I was screwing around with my posing, and I
Okay.
sent one where I was screwing around, not where they were even.
So this is when you had I guess your right leg forward, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
just a depth perception.
Basically, what you do on a rear shot, I was doing it from the front just to see what it looked like, and yeah,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Okay. So here's the front relaxed. It's actually not a bad shot for you looking at it. You definitely need to open up a little more with the arms, but maybe even widen your stance in the legs, but it's a pretty balanced shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Mostly like within the shoulders, chest, that kind of bring in a lot of things with, and especially because I got the wide lats at the top,
Yeah.
really on the taper.
Yeah.
I definitely need to start working on fullness of the quads, and arms, which is something I think we talked about before. Is I had bicep tendonitis last year.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
First it was in the right arm. And it felt like literally the week the right arm felt better, left arm got it. Damn. And that stuff's pretty brutal getting that bicep tendonitis, but everything's good now, so we're good
Yeah.
on that.
Because it affects obviously back training, chest training, arm training, shoulder training. Because it probably happens like down here in the joint as well too, right? As well as up in here.
Yep.
Yeah, it affects everything. It sucks. Yeah, from your the front relax is a pretty strong shot for you. Yeah, the arms are a little slight for sure, but I don't think you or I have ever been known to have big arms.
No.
The quad sweep's really good. I would say from the front, adductors, you can never have big enough adductors. What a lot of people don't realize is like when they think they have small legs, they think they need to bring their quads up. It's really that adductor. Like if you look at when you talk about legs, it's three muscle groups. It's quads, hamstrings, and then adductors. The adductors are obviously the inner thigh area, but that's what really gives that leg that full round look. If you have slight adductors, you're gonna have small legs on stage. That's where that gap comes in. But no, yeah, quads are really good shape, good separation. Obviously, yeah, we just thicken the adductors up a little bit. That's from heavy, wide squats typically. I personally need to bring my adductors up too. It's my Achilles heel. They're not small, but they're not massive, and it just makes me angry. But
Yeah. Well, see, like you said that when you look at a lot of pros, their adductors are crazy.
yeah,
And but like you said, all anyone says is, "Man, look at the size of their quads." It's like
yeah,
a third of what you're seeing is literally their adductors.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so adductors, and I think we'll look at it from the back here too in a second, but right, I keep hitting the wrong key. I got two keywords here I want to use for work. Yeah. So for what I would say is wide, deep squats for sure. When I say deep, I used to think you need to go out all the way ass to grass. I think that ends up turning into some knee issues later on, but a hair below 90 at least. And what I noticed for myself is I had bad like mind muscle connection with them. So I would always do like 2 or 3 sets of adductors before I did my squats as well, just to
Okay.
kind of activate them and get that connection in there and get some blood in there. So when you have more of a pump, you have more feeling down there, so you can feel it.
Yeah. And I will say too, something that I need to pick back up on that I usually used to do a lot in my leg workouts was lunges, but I
Yeah,
haven't gotten into them often, probably in the last year or so. So I need to definitely start getting back on the lunges because that's going to help a lot with that, the tie-ins, everything.
yeah. So with Vlad, I remember when I worked with Vlad years ago now, right? He told me zigzag lunges.
Yep.
So which is something I do all the time. So I love lunges, man. But it's basically just like stepping out to the side, but keeping your body straight, but stepping out to the side and then pressing off, and you're really just focusing on using that adder to lift you.
Basically, the way that I've told a guy how to do this is imagine you have jock rash and you're doing a lunge.
Yeah, yeah,
That's really what it's like. Don't let your inner thighs touch. Just
yeah,
step wide.
yeah. So from the back, what do you think from the back?
Definitely need to bring up the quad sweep from the rear, the hamstring development. Um, and to me, I hate this about myself. My traps are bad weak point. My upper trap. I've never been able to develop them for some reason. I've tried so many different things. They just don't come in.
Do you deadlift or rack pull?
Rack pull.
Rack how frequently?
About every 2 weeks, every other workout.
Yeah, pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My working set will be upwards north of 600.
Okay. What are you doing for rep ranges?
For that final set, typically around 6 to 8, typically.
Yeah.
It depends where in the workout I decided to put it. If I do it last, I'll be lucky to get 315 for 6 to 8.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. It just depends on where I put it within the workout. But for the most part, it's north of 600 most of the time.
I just for the record, I've always had good traps. It's like the worst muscle groups to have as like your glory muscle. I've got good traps and I've got good forearms. Like it's terrible. Like why couldn't I get like good biceps or anything else? But
Yeah, I got the lats in the chest.
yeah. So like I never tell people to like take advice from the guy that has the best arms in the gym on how to get big arms. I've always just had big traps, but like, yeah, I mean, I've always done my rack pulls or deadlifts typically at the end of my workout. After like usually the third exercise for back day, I'll do my racks or deads, and then I'll have like one more stretching type move at the end.
Okay.
Um, I mean, obviously there's shrugs. I don't ever do them because they're just I don't know. I don't think I need to do them to be honest. But yeah,
Yeah,
heavy racks or deads are really good for the traps, obviously.
yeah.
Um, anything that challenges anything that challenges them. The interesting about traps is like there's actually right. So the traps are up here and they come down on the spine.
Mm.
Um, but there's actually like 3 different sets of fibers with the traps. The top ones up here are for like elevation. The center ones, the fibers actually kind of like run like horizontally in. And I
The
forget what
total,
the lower section is.
I think it doesn't run 45 downward,
Okay.
the lower spread,
Yeah, maybe.
because the spinal
Um,
erectors are tucking underneath to tie in.
yeah. Yep. 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 So what you're saying is you're the like the middle section, your upper middle back, your traps don't look too bad. They got some depth to them. But yeah, your upper traps where your necks are, it's a little flatter.
Yeah. And that's always been like the Achilles heel. I mean, dumbbell shrugs, barbell shrugs, behind the neck, wide grip, close grip,
Hmm.
you name it, I've tried it. And I'll get a pump, but they just don't grow.
Yeah. Um, and then so we said your tricep shouldn't look too bad from the back.
Yeah, the triceps and rear delts, I think, are pretty developed there. Same with the side delt that you can see.
Yeah,
I
no, your side, I can see your side delt from back here. It it's pretty round.
Yeah.
Rear delts are definitely popping out. Lats could be a little thicker. Could be a little
Yeah.
thicker. But what's good is you can see that they insert low.
Mm,
So there's definitely some development there, obviously. But lats can always be thicker on
yeah.
anybody.
I've always had the blessing of having wide lats, but
Yeah,
that's what I do need to work on is thickening them up, and especially from the rhomboid and just in that area right there, they definitely need to be filled out.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, for back development, I think a lot of people have gotten away from like the heavy bent over movements where you're relying on like your back musculature to stabilize everything. And they've a lot of people have moved to like chest supported rows. I think to build like a really dense back, it's the T-bar rows, the rack pulls, the I love one arm barbell rows and meadows rows.
Oh, meadow rows are nice. I like
Yeah.
doing them at the end though, because I don't like using a lot of heavy weight with those.
So when you do them at the end,
Yeah, I do them toward like not the last exercise, but typically towards the end because I don't like going very heavy with them.
why?
I think it's just because I maybe being tall, I had that long bend over and I don't have nothing to grab onto with the other
Yeah,
arm balance, other than like putting arm on my leg.
that's
So
what I do. Yeah.
I like doing them kind of lighter. And I believe in bending over as much as possible. I know we see it constantly. I think you sent me a picture of some guy doing bent over rows, and he was almost at a 90-degree, like almost like
Oh no,
standing
no,
up.
no, no. Yeah, no, he was like standing up. He was
Yeah,
like here, and then he was throwing his chest into it.
like I tell people all the time, like, look, man, they're called bent over rows. Bend the hell over.
Yeah. I start my back days 99% of the times are started off with either a Meadows row or a one arm barbell row. I tend to go with the one arm barbell row a little more, um, and I go heavy with it. I use 25s obviously because it's an awkward movement to pull up anything bigger than that. But yeah, I would yeah, just look at the lat thickness. I think maybe that's what I would say to do is probably maybe starting your back days off with like a one arm barbell row bent over. It might help out. And then
Yeah,
yeah, your hamstrings. But we already discussed that from the front wide deep squats. I think we talked about it on the phone this weekend too, right?
yeah, yep,
Yeah. So I said to you for hamstrings, my recommendation would be is to start your leg training off with like a seated ham curl. I think the seated ham curl is way more superior than the lying hamstring curl because it puts both end of the hamstring on stretch. So you're going to get a tighter contraction. And so I would do the ham curls, start off, just fill it with as much blood as possible, and then go into the squats or your press, and then really just focus on the eccentric portion of it. Yeah.
okay.
What do you think about the side shot?
I think arm, oddly enough, the bicep looks pretty good in that shot for some reason, mostly probably because of the thickness from the triceps.
Yeah.
Shoulders, they stick out, but definitely the trap is a negative on there. Um, and I definitely need to squat a touch more on that to see my hamstring.
Yep.
But like we talked earlier, a little bit more hamstring development, kind of thicken that out, get that split and that drop in there.
Yeah.
But like the quad sweep looks pretty good,
It
from
does.
the top down. Um, and of course, I mean, midsection we're not going to see until I diet down fuller. But I mean, you see, I don't have much there.
But no, your waist is small.
Yeah, I mean, but my stomach actually, you've seen photos. I just etch in detail in my midsection. It's
Hmm.
just detail everywhere, so it will get tighter and tighter as go. I want to say my last show, my waist was down to 26, 27 inches.
Holy
Yeah, it
shit!
was tiny,
Seriously?
tiny, man. Like I actually had to I had to find like the smallest men's belt. I didn't think about it until afterwards. I should have just went to a kid's store and got a belt, but I bought the smallest men's belt I could find, and I had to drill holes in it still just to get it on.
Wow.
It was bad.
Yeah. No. Like I hate to say it, man. My waist. Did I touch 30 this year? I can't remember if I touched 30. Um, I think 31 is what I get down to competition ready. I got just a normal white boy waist, big sucks, but no, yeah, this is a pretty good shot for you. Yeah, quad sweep looks good. Hamstrings again are a little slight, but we talked about that. But from the upper torso looks pretty solid. The tricep, I'm really impressed with the tricep. The tricep to shoulder looks really good, and then your chest is big as well. It's a pretty
Yeah,
solid shot for you.
my chest actually, I need to start hitting it a little bit harder now, but my chest is one thing like we talked about earlier a couple minutes ago. My chest develops fast, very
Right.
fast. I don't do anything special crazy, so I know it's a genetic thing. I stick with, typically 2 exercises of incline, usually like a flat hammer strength and a fly movement or a crossover, and I'm done. Like I don't do anything special crazy. If I had to say one special exercise I'll do, but not that often, is reverse bench.
Okay. Reverse grip.
Yeah, reverse grip bench. Yeah,
Yeah.
wide. Like not like no crazy wide, but like my middle fingers. No, my ring fingers will typically be on like the outside collar, the
Yep.
ring, the form ring. That's about as wide as I'll go with those. And it's weird. As a lot of people are going to think that they feel that in you would think it's going to be lower pec, mid pec.
That's upper
It's going to kill your upper pec.
pec. Yep. No, your chest looks pretty full. Chest looks good. Yeah, I'm just what catches me. So you definitely need to turn a little more your torso, your upper torso.
Yeah.
It's gonna make you look a lot wider as well. And we're gonna see a little bit with that side delt. So your depth's gonna be a lot more, and we're just gonna see a little more chest. But from
Mm,
this your shoulder and tricep are what catches my eye right here.
yeah. And
Gotcha.
the one
So,
thing with my shoulders that I'll say that I give a lot of credit to my shoulders for is I've always been a side lateral machine. Like I quit doing shoulder presses a few years ago because I had a lot of impingements, burning, and it was from playing baseball. Like my shoulder was just shot. So I do side laterals relentlessly, sides and front laterals to make up for that. And I think that that's really what's brought on a lot of roundness and fullness to my delts.
so what do you do chest by itself, or do you do chest and shoulders and then have a separate shoulder day as well?
Individually. Yeah, individually. Yep.
Okay. So you just
Uh,
do, so your chest hairs are actually really short, then you just do 3 movements and you're in and out?
Yep. Yeah. My chest exercises or workouts, maybe 45 minutes at most.
Mhm.
I'll do abs that day just because I'm done so quick.
Yeah.
Um, and that's it.
Yeah. So I struggle. My shoulders aren't small, but they're not big at all. For the last like year and a half, I've been doing shoulders with chest, just like one side delt movement, and then I'll do shoulder day by itself as well. Uh,
Now, this is something for the females out there, free advice that I give a lot of my girls, especially the high end ones. So definitely listen to this one. Your chest is a muscle that no one cares about. Do
mm,
very little in the gym with it. And what you need to do is in between your exercises, what I have all my girls do, because in bikini, you need those capped round shoulders. Do between each chest exercise, do a set of side laterals. Your
okay.
shoulders will explode within 3-4 weeks. You will notice a massive difference. Now,
Really?
that take over for a shoulder day. That's on your chest day. But that's something I've had girls do, and it works like crazy with them.
So so if you have two pressing movements on chest day, you
Mm.
have them do side laterals between each set still?
Yep, between each set. Basically, with the females, I'll have them do an incline press,
Hmm.
side laterals in between each one, then do flies, side laterals between each one, and then just do some type of flat movement. I always prefer not barbell, either do dumbbells or hammer strength, something like that.
Yeah.
But I prefer them to do kind of wide. That way they can really target in between that lat spot where the brawl sits,
Okay.
and do side laterals with those. So you're hitting a total of, in between 6 to 9 sets of side laterals. No, we're not doing them heavy. We're not going to failure. Just some type of rep range to get blood flow in the
Get the
area.
blood flow.
Yeah, and it caps those shoulders. You'll notice it within 3 weeks. Actually, one of my girls I just started training, I won't say her name, but I'm sure she'll see this. I have her doing it, and within 3 weeks, you wouldn't even realize. Like looking at her initial photos to now, you would not know it was 3 weeks.
Hmm. All right. I'm gonna have Summer do it now.
She's got some crazy shoulders, though.
Yeah, she does when she's peeled, but she thinks they look smaller when she's off season, obviously. But
Man,
no, they could still, for figure, you need to have like super capped delts. And unfortunately, dude, for white girls, it's so much harder. It's so much harder for white
black.
girls. Some of these
Yeah,
black girls are just so talented, man, that it's really hard to compete with them.
her back though, man, crazy,
Yeah,
crazy back.
her back's nasty for sure.
When I
Yeah.
saw that, I was like, damn.
All right. Side chest, man. So your hamstring isn't too bad here.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that was because of the step forward. Plus, with the pose, you know to use that back leg to push into the right thigh.
yep.
So that helped a lot. But I also, if you go back to the other side, you notice that when I talked earlier about I need to sit more, just put
Right.
that little knee bend in, then go back to it, the side chest, and you see there's a lot more bend to get
Yeah.
that.
So the secret to this pose for the hamstring is you're not flexing your hamstring at all. You're just pressing that leg into that knee as much as possible to push that out. So what really helps, what a lot of people think when they have slight hamstrings in this shot, they think it's their hamstring that's slight. It's actually typically it's the adductor, because the adductor is what is pressing against the knee and the other leg and pushing the rest of that meat out. So if you have nothing in that inner thigh to push against, you're not going to really have much to push out.
Correct.
Um,
It's an illusion. That's things I tell people all the time is you and part of posing is hiding your weaknesses, bringing out your strengths.
yep.
And this isn't saying that a hamstring is a weakness to many people, but you look at pros, if they spread their legs and sit down, you don't see the hamstring drop. It's because they're using that back leg to push it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, tricep looks good here. Shoulder looks really good and round.
Yeah.
Chest looks good. Again, you just need to turn the upper torso a little bit more. and
Yep.
your chest will look a lot bigger. But no, it's a pretty decent shot.
I actually think at this moment, actually, when the photo went, I actually cut my eyes because I saw Bella come over. I was like, what the hell? Like first thing in the morning, she was coming out for food. She said, where's my breakfast?
Yeah, yeah. Lat spread.
First thing that stuck out on me was I noticed on this, I need to lean back with my back.
Yeah,
And I was standing straight up, and I tell everybody to lean back, but I
yeah,
was standing straight up. And right when I did the pose and I heard the camera click, I was like, damn, I was standing up.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
No, yeah. Posing's that's all gonna, you know, posing in the off season sucks. You perfect it in prep typically, but
it's,
yeah,
it's weird
it
for me to
sucks.
say
Go ahead.
is I'm always on my clients about posing, posing, posing. I take a pride in a lot of posing and helping them,
Yeah,
but it's been so long since I've had to pose that I'm going by what I remember how I used to be and feel versus now it's off. Everything's
yeah,
grown, everything's different. So I have to adjust my posing because it's been so long.
yeah. Um, yeah, when you stand straight in that lat, it really narrows you out, but
Yep.
we can still tell here that you're still pretty wide.
Yeah. And
Uh,
anytime, like I tell a lot of people, anytime you can start seeing detail in a lat spread, you know the back's there.
yeah,
It's a matter of dieting it in and learning how to pose it properly, which the pose isn't that far off. It's just that I was leaning forward, but I have the correct spread, arm angle, hand placement. It's just I need to do that little tuck back.
yep,
Uh, this is the pose that if you see bodybuilders do this and you're on the side of the stage, you're going to see nothing but pot bellies
yeah.
because
Your stomach
the
sticks out
pose,
in this one for
it
sure.
sticks out.
Yeah. No, that last one's pretty good. Because again, the hamstrings, we talked about that already.
Yeah.
What do you think your biggest issues with the hamstrings is? I think we're on the phone this week and you're talking about just the mind muscle connection with it.
Yeah, mind muscle connection. About uh, 3 years ago, I did have a slight glute hamstring tear
Yeah.
on the left hamstring. I'm not going to say that that's what caused it or anything like that, but I took hamstring working out very differently after that for at least a year, year and a half.
Yeah.
Just not because of fear or anything like that, but it was just knowing that I had an issue there. I held back a little bit.
Mhm.
But that's something that I'm completely over with now. So it's back into good mornings, all that good stuff.
Okay.
Uh,
You do good mornings?
oh, I love good mornings. And it's weird being tall. I'm 6'1.5", and being tall, I feel nothing but hamstrings and butt in that.
Well, okay. I don't like them. I don't like them because I used to have crazy lower back issues,
Mm,
and so I never liked them then, and I haven't done them in 10+ years now, so I don't do it now. But
okay. Yeah, I actually feel those. I, I've never truly felt Romanian deadlifts with barbell good. Dumbbells, I feel them great with. If I'm doing, on the hack squat reversed, I feel them great with.
yep.
But good mornings, just I've always felt them activate my hamstrings and glutes way better.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. Dumbbells I love for straight legs, obviously. The barbell's good. Just a tip for them in general is you should have your toes elevated
Yes.
whenever you're doing them. It just puts a little bit more strength.
And try going duck foot every so often.
Yeah, so that's a good point too. Something we haven't touched on. Foot placement with hamstrings. So your hamstring is three muscles. So if we're looking at your leg right here, this big one right here, this is your bicep femoris. That's the biggest one. Then you have a semi-tendinous and a semi-membranous that are the more medial heads. And so wherever you have your foot placement in terms of like internally rotated or externally rotated, you're going to target those muscles more. So if you're externally rotated more, you're going to target more of this lateral muscle, which is the bicep femoris. If you're internally, it's going to target more the two inner ones, the membranous and tendinous.
Yep. And this is something that, being that you just broke down the three parts of the hamstring, is know that the hamstring development helps the quadriceps.
Yep.
Because when you work on that inner hamstring, it's going to push the adductor out.
Yep.
So all of a sudden now your quads are going to look a lot thicker. And then
Yep.
it's saying that when you start developing thicker hamstrings, that outer sweep of the quad pops out more because
Yep.
of the way they insert behind the quads with everything. So that's something key, is if your quads aren't developing, hit hamstrings more because that will help.
So back to the squats with it too. A lot of times I see people squat, and when they are going down, they're coming up, their knees will trail in or out, right? Whatever way your knees are trailing, that's typically, believe it or not, it's usually like a hamstring issue.
Yep.
You don't have that control there. It's so whatever way you're going, if they're going in, it's more likely going to be the two medial muscles. If they're going, if they're going out more, it's gonna might maybe be the other one. So if they're trailing in, that means the inner muscles are weaker. So you should probably strengthen those ones.
Correct.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've learned the hard way is stretch. Please stretch your damn hamstrings.
Yeah.
I had a lot of hip issues. I still do, but my flexibility in my hamstrings was so bad that that's what was causing a lot of my hip issues. Was the hamstring was just pulling so hard on the glute that my
Mhm.
hip was so misplaced. Um, I think I had told you it was right when my first time, God, 5 years ago, first time I deadlifted 500 pounds from the floor. I just stopped ever since then because my hip was so messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Hips suck, man, with
Yeah,
deadlifts.
it came from the hamstring.
Really, yeah.
Uh,
That's what people need to understand too, is typically where wherever you're feeling the pain isn't typically the source of the pain.
Correct.
It's going to be a muscle below or above it that's pulling on that muscle and pulling it out of alignment typically.
Correct. Yeah.
Not every time, but majority of the times.
Yeah.
Front double. So again, just to touch on, you did bring your right foot forward. So that's why we're seeing like a disparity
Right.
in the quad sizes.
The big one on this is adjust the leg placement where I screwed up. So I admit that was 100% posing, but they are basically the same size in development, which you can see on the front relaxed.
Yeah.
And definitely need to bring up biceps big time.
Yeah. That's the biggest glaring thing here is
Yeah.
biceps.
Which is weird when I took this photo. It's the first time I've taken a front double in God, ages.
Yeah.
And I put my arms and I'm like, I can go back like and see photos from last summer. And I'm like, my arms are bigger last time, but it was like I said, that bicep tendonitis, and then it's just not training a lot.
Okay.
They biceps have been a weakness of mine, and I hit them extremely hard to where they were developed pretty well, but
Mhm.
then backing off, they go right away. So when you have a weakness on something, you can't take any time off because the muscle will go away. You have to attack.
No, dude, for me, biceps is arms in general. I hate giving arm advice because it's just I've never had good arms and it just sucks.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's more like a mental thing with me, but like I have like some days I can have good workouts, but a lot of times my bicep day or my arm days are just bad. And I don't know if it's because I just hate arms and I'm frustrated they're small, but yeah, I've always struggled with arms as well. So I don't typically give advice on how to train arms. But so what I'm your your back's wide from the back, but it looks almost a little shallow from the front
I
too.
think what that is when you look at compare my right lat to my left lat, they if you look, it looks like I twisted with my leg placement.
Okay, this is further back a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's what that is I was just looking at that myself, as you can see there's a difference in the lats, but also my upper body is twisted. So I think that came from where I misplaced the feet.
Yep. Um, yeah, I wonder if you should do some because you didn't did you send a rear double? I don't think you sent a rear double, did you? Did you take one?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't take one.
Okay. Um, yeah, because your back's wide. You know what it is? I think I had the same issue too, though. My I've got a really wide like front relax and a really wide rear lat or lat spread, but my my bicep shots, my lats are narrow. So I think it just is like a structural thing. Because like your front relax is wide, your spread's wide, but then you're a little more narrow in this shot. But it also might just be because you know what it might be too is because you're like me with narrow clavicles.
Yeah.
So and because you have narrow clavicles and you're 6 foot plus, your arms are long.
Oh, I got freaking worms farms are so long.
Yeah. So
Like
maybe that's why it's taken away from the look a little bit.
we talked about the thing with the narrow clavicles is they're not easy to work around, and that's why when you take someone like Phil Heath who has very narrow clavicles,
Mhm.
that's why he looks like he looks. And people always say, oh, look at the reason he has a weakness in certain parts of his upper body, his chest, things like that. Narrow clavicles are not an easy thing to overcome,
No.
and it affects a lot of your upper body.
It,
Uh,
it fortunately in bodybuilding, it's narrow clavicles. It takes away so much from the illusion of looking
oh,
big.
that you have to overcompensate with the other muscles. You have to.
Yeah.
You have a choice.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So arms. I'm not going to give any advice for arms at all. And then yeah, just
Main
the
thing with my arms
lats.
is consistency.
What's up?
Main thing with my arms is going to be consistency.
Yeah.
It's just I don't hit them that often, but I need to, and it's basically been because of the workouts.
Mhm.
with the addition. And like I said, it's just, I never, once I recovered from the bicep tendonitis from both of them, I never started working them out like I should. I just continued with BSing around. So I need to start hitting them more often and take the accountability that it's a weak point and attack it.
Yeah. So now we're running a little over on time now, but I just wanted to, the last thing I want to say with arms too, you might struggle with the same thing too, is I do a lot of pressing with my chest, obviously. And then, so like for me, I can't go crazy hard on triceps when when I train arms.
Uh,
I've been cut my tricep movements on 2 movements on arm day. And I've got I think my buys are actually bigger than my tries, but I just can't do any more because if I start doing more, I start developing bad tricep tendonitis.
yep.
Same thing for buys sometimes too. If I start doing a lot of heavy rows, I have to shorten up my bicep workouts because they just get overtrained too fast.
Is it your bicep or you think the brachial's just pulling all over everything?
Um, so yeah, it's the brachioradialis, which starts in the forearm and starts up here.
Pull
That'll
from,
get it feels like it's overworked.
okay.
So that's if I start doing like a lot of heavy rows, that'll tend to get overworked sometimes. So I got to back off. But yeah, so it's just a constant battle with arms. Something's always feels off a little bit. Yeah.
Got Hey, so some people are blessed with certain things, some people aren't. There's a reason why we're amateurs.
Yeah, it's definitely a reason why we're amateurs for sure. All right, man. Yeah, good. So we went over your whole diet. So this is your starting point now. So you start off at 210.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back in a couple weeks and see where we're at, see what your weight's done.
Yep. Yeah, basically what I'll do is probably in about 2 weeks I'll address the diet again, see what adjustments I do need to make. And I'll
Yep.
bring it up on the show. I'll bring up the weight on the show, whatever it needs to be. And we'll just go from there.
Cool. Yeah. So next week we'll go over my photos maybe.
Yep.
Tear me apart. That'll be pretty easy. All right, man. So good episode, and we'll catch up next week, man.
All right, man. Sounds good.
How do I hit the